Pack Tactics is a fast-paced auto-battler where you have to put a deck of cards together comprised of multiple animal species in order to not become extinct. I love this game. There is something about its mechanics, while simple to understand, has just this intrinsic balance of winning and losing on a razor's edge. I can't get enough of it. As soon as I found it, I just kept playing, and hopefully you'll find it as interesting as I do. So, how do we exactly play this game? Well, learning it is actually quite simple. See, our cards that we have currently drafted, I got a little lucky in some synergy, but the cards that we have different values on it. The first value is in the top left-hand corner of each card. That is the damage number. The bottom right is the health number, obviously because it's a heart. In order to win your match, you have to control the crown or not discard too many cards. We'll get into that when we actually play the game. But in order to win, you have to have more damage than your opponent's current health. You'll understand once we actually, again, get into a match. Currently, I have a cub, which can grow to be more powerful. I have a hyena, that's a decent 2/2, and it joins me in my hunts, which is a mechanic we'll get to later, maybe. And we have a crab, that's 2/2, that has a special condition when it loses the crown. Now, I have no control over which cards come out when. I just have the odds in my favor of what gets pulled. So, later down the line, depending on what kind of deck I want to build and what cards we draft, we'll maybe get more of one card than the other. Here's hoping. Now, in order to win this game entirely, you have to win a certain amount of matches. That's deciduated? No, that's a tree. No, that's deciduous. That's designated off at the right-hand side of your screen. We have the blank crowns there. Every time you win, you get a crown. You fill up all those crowns. You win the entire game. However, you're more likely to lose your matches, and when that happens, we lose a heart. When you run out of hearts, the entire run is gone. And this is where the said earlier on razor's edge comes in, because you can make a pretty decent hard to beat deck but get unlucky with your pulls unless you have really good synergies. You also can lose by losing a lot of cards and having too big of a deck, so you want to keep it thin, but you don't want to keep it too thin because then the cards you want aren't pulled, and then you have certain mechanics on each of the cards that need certain conditions to be... It's really tight. This is a tight game. So, let's jump into an actual match and fight. And I will hopefully talk of what is happening. I get to pull first, so therefore I have a 2 attack, 2 health, and the crown. The opponent activates a hive because it was his only card. He has 3 attack, 3 health, therefore the 3 attack beats my 2, which then in total gets me my crab's ability, which gives me now 5 health, which then, as we keep drawing there, I've done the same thing to him. He's now done the same thing to me, because meeting the criteria of the health beats it. My cub gets 1/1 because it was then played, beating the bee off, and we win. If you go play by play, I did that terribly, but it all made sense in the grand scheme of things. We have now won the match. We get to continue playing. And this is where the second most enjoyable portion of the game comes from, the drafting phase. So, we have an option of 3 low-level cards, which is what we started off with. I saw them. I was like, oh, I can build into that. We have 2 medium level cards, which are pretty good, all things considered, because they have the hunt ability. Both of them do, actually. They're bird and lizard. And then we have 1 really good card. And you have to choose, okay, do I bulk out the deck? Do I go specific? Do I get that 1 really good card? Because a shiny egg. Oh, the shiny egg is really good. I'm going to take that shiny egg. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to collect. We're going to add it to my deck. But here's the kicker. Because you notice we also have a B there. Okay? This is the thing that makes this game so interesting. The rounds that you go through are persistent. If something happens in one round, it carries over to the next, and the next, and the next. Like I said before, the crab, who was originally 2-2, lost its crown, therefore gaining 3 health, and now has 5 health. So the crab is actually much more stronger. And when that hive was played previously, it shuffled in 2 Bs, one into my opponent and 1 into my deck. That's now my B. So, I have the option of keeping it, it's a 2-2, it's fine, or getting rid of it. Currently this early, I think I'm going to keep it, honestly. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. So, we don't exactly have the synergy yet, but this may continue on. See, as the cards continue to get more and more interesting and decks become more and more confusing. Confusing's not the right word, but I'll go with it for now. You can get some incredibly weird combinations. So let's fight again. Try and do this one more time. This person only has 2 cards in their deck to my 5. My crab goes out. It's now a 2-5. This person did not have enough attack to beat my crab, so they had to pull another card. If that other card was a card that had attack, it would stack onto the current attack it had in order to beat my card, and then I would have to go back and forth. This is the the third thing that completely and utterly makes this game so fucking good. I'm gonna swap to a new pack here. Okay, that one's fine. I will collect because that's another hyena. You know what? I'm gonna sort out. I still have no hunting. I'm gonna get rid of the locust and I'm gonna get rid of the bee. We're gonna keep the prowler. Yes. This is a slow to start game, but once we get, well, actually, no, I wouldn't say slow to start. Depending on what cards I got earlier, we would have actually had a very quick start. We're getting extremely lucky on how many times we're winning. Except we don't always want to win, because as we saw, the crab losing his crown made it more powerful. So sometimes we do want to lose. But anyway, let's go again. Okay, this one might actually get to a good spot. So, 9 health. I have to beat 9 health. So first and foremost, we'll draw a card. That doesn't beat it. We draw another card, adds it up to 5, still not 1. Crown, nothing there. Crab, another +2, get a 7. Another +2, we get a 9, meets it, beats it. The crown comes to me. However, I now have a stack of, 5 cards? If I lose, all of those cards go into my bottom row, as seen right now. I only have space for 5 cards. If I discard more cards than I have space for, I lose the match also. Luckily, my cub... no, hold up, because the meerkat joined the attack there, so he wins the crown. So I lose that round. So I didn't have enough cards to continue playing, plus I didn't have the crown to hold, therefore I lost the match. If I had more cards in that stack of cards previously lost, I also would have lost because I don't have enough discard space for the varieties of creatures. You can see where the actual, like, deck portion of the game comes in. However, you haven't quite seen the mechanical card part of things. And I'm not entirely getting the right cards to do that. Let me view my deck for a second here. We only have one aquatic. We mostly have mammal here. I don't need more cards. I'm going to take a giant squid. I'm going to take the giant squid. Whenever a aquatic animal shows up on the field, I get 3 health. I only have 2. Technically, the egg counts as aquatic because it's every. And then that. But it's a decent card to add to my collection. Plus, I need the staying power. The only thing that has the most health is my crab. So, let's go again. 7/7 card deck. Narwhal gets played. It has 10 health, but no damage. So I have to really play a lot of cards here. That gains some more more stuff. This goes up to 9. Plays the hyena. Boom. We get the crown. I'm going to easily lose this, though, because I only have 2 health. A snail. A snail beat that entire stack. So now all of those get discarded. Luckily, I have 2 spaces left. We play the squid. That's what was luckily drawn. So Narwhal gets played. It doesn't have enough damage, so they have to then pull more cards. So I lost that. Shiny egg. Shouldn't have gotten the egg. And then the crab. Crab can't beat the dung beetle because it doesn't have enough damage, therefore I lose the match. So you can see the back and forth here where this game goes. It is incredibly compelling. I can't stop playing this game because they're just on the cusp of getting a synergy or a card that I need to really fulfill the deck. I don't think I'm going to win this entire match. I'm going to lose this game real quick, actually, because the deck building engine that I need didn't start up very early, so I don't see myself making it too far. I'm going to take the Wolverine and the Pelican, because we can do some hunting of water animals, and that's going to be very useful. And then we'll get the Wolverine to go up. So, hunting, I'm not going to go into every single mechanic here, obviously, but hunting is the most prevalent mechanic of this game. Hunting, if we look at it here, says remove remove this specific creature from the den and gain its attack and health. Now, the pelican eats. Yeah, technically eats. It hunts an aquatic, which I have the squid and the crab. It eats it from the discard pile. So, if I so happen to get a crab or giant squid in the first couple rounds, and they get beaten, and then I draw the pelican, then the squid and or crab will be taken out of my deck, but added to the pelican. So hunting creatures also plays a big role. I don't want my shiny egg to get eaten because it needs to be crowned, though I don't think I'm gonna get it crowned because it only has 0. That's more of a turn 1 or 2 kind of win. Alright, you're clogging up my deck with some bees. That's lovely. I have a cub, 5/5, not bad. So their discard pile goes there. They have a bee. They have another bee. And another hive. Oh, I see why your deck is so fucking big. Okay, this is gonna be a bloodbath. Crab and hyena. Okay, that's actually good. When we definitely lose this hand, we will be able to eat that crab. So the beetle is giving stats to the bugs in the den, the discard pile. Therefore, we lose those. We then have a prowler. I was hoping we would get a reptile. Oh, wait, no, we do have a reptile, technically. It's the shiny egg. That classifies. 2, meets it, beats it. We then have the shiny egg. Pelican goes and eats and becomes much more powerful. And because our hyena joins in the hunt, it also gets those stats as well. So you can now see why I was holding on to the hyenas. They have so many fucking bees, and even if I win the match against those bees, they're not going to clog the discard den, because it goes on the same stack of the same types of animals. So all those bees go there. He has an incredibly svelte den. Again, going into the deck building of keeping with one specific type of creature. He ran out of cards to draw, which means he couldn't beat my squid, which means I take the crown. And now my deck is actually starting to come together. Ooh, I could go for the falcon and start picking at my bronze. Here, let me sort here. Start picking at my bronze cards, which wouldn't be the worst, because I have the prowler, the cub, that going into somebody, then the hyena also. I need a few more hunting. I'm going to get rid of these bees. Yeah, I'm going to take the falcon and the ant queen. I'm going to toss the ant queen because we don't need that. Okay. Yeah, that'll probably help us out. No, go away, bee. That'll probably help us out quite a bit, because then also, well, we haven't played the Wolverine, but if it plays, we'll get more stuff from there. Okay, I've started to divert from showing off this game to just playing this game. So, we're gonna leave it there for now, because I could just continue with this to no end. And hopefully, I have described it and demoed it well enough where you can at least get a handle on how to play it when you do yourself. There's quite a few more cards in this deck. We've only scratched the surface of what's available. It's a small enough card pool in order to know what's there, but big enough to have enough of a variety of cards to pull from. Honestly, this game is weirdly balanced in an unbalanced way. I love it to bits. Link in the description below. My name is Ben Dark Arts, and hopefully... Okay, you know what? Let's just go one more round. One more round! So 9 to 8 cards. I pull first. That's unfortunate because I wanted to have you hunt a bronze animal. So that was unlucky for me. That Wolverine was pulled so many times. So it has 21, so it would be anything I had. However, I am going to be fine because its health is actually quite low. The Pelican also doesn't get to hunt, which is unfortunate. This is what happens when I have a jumbled deck of cards. The Komodo Dragon adds some stuff. The Stag really takes it home with a 9/7. It, of course, gains some damage, too. Squid goes. Lovely. Because of its synergy, the Stag there. Ostrich, ooh, just beats out. But unfortunately... Is that both cards? Yep, no. We ran out of discard space, and we lost. That's unfortunate. Hopefully, the next round will go even better, though.